We're celebrating the birthday of The Truth About Men, what men and women need to know. Many of you who've been following me, you know that this book is close to my heart. I believe it's going to change your relationships. I think it's going to give you information on your dating life, your married life. There's a lot of information in here that I'm so excited to finally share with the world. So you know that this day is significant, and I'm so grateful for all your support, and I'm glad that you are tuned in. We are doing what we call a live signing, and it is going to be hosted by my dear friend.
Good to see you.
Dear friend. I call her CJ. Other people call her Sharaya Jackson. Just Miss Jackson if you're nasty, you know. And get her book, you know, Boss Bride. That book will bless you.
Thank you.
And so my sister is here, you know, to just host a conversation. We have a lot of questions that are coming in. I believe you can even leave questions there in the comments. But also, if you want to get a signed copy, because I'm going to be signing as we speak, go to premiercollectibles.com/the-truth. If you want a signed copy, go right now and you can go in and put in your information. You can buy a signed copy and I will sign it right now. So many people have been hitting me up from all over the world asking how they can get a signed copy. Well, you can get one right now. All you got to do is go to premiercollectibles.com/the-truth. premiercollectibles.com/truth. And we'll continue to let you know where you can go, because I'd love to sign a book for you. And Valentine's Day is next week.
Next week.
So, you know, this is a book that you can read in your book club. You can get it for your sister. You can get it for your mother. You can get it for your daughter. And you can get it for the man in your life. And if you're a brother, you can get it for yourself. You can get it for other men in your life. You can get it for your father. You can get it for your pastor. This is a book that everyone can and should read. And for Valentine's Day, I guarantee you it'll be a great gift.
All right.
All right.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. I think
you are ready. But before we do anything, go any further, we have to just say congrats to you. So y'all let him know in the comments, type in the comments. Because DeVon, we know that, of course, he's an incredible author, but he's also producing films that are seen around the world. He is a beast. And we don't be stingy. This is an incredible work of art. It will transform your mind when you read this book. So hit that share button. Don't be stingy. Share it with your friends. Share it with your groups. Tag your friend who complaining about the men in her life.
Yep.
And we will also be answering your questions. We got so many questions from Chicago, New York, Detroit, Andrea in Texas. We see you, girl. But as he said, be sure if you go to that link, you can get your own signed copy.
Yes.
And so it's time for you to get started.
Yeah. So let's talk and sign and all that good stuff.
You know, you know me. I am a true fan, and I read this book and I was like, yo, this is the book I needed to read that I didn't even know I was missing. He was on Today's Show this morning with your
Maria
friend,
Shriver.
Maria Shriver.
The legendary, amazing Maria Shriver. I'm so grateful.
And you really just break down this issue. And I think one of the things you talk about in the book was the fact that we have normalized so much of the bad behavior of men.
That's
and
right.
we don't even call it what it is. And so talk about that moment when you know, like, you know what, it's not enough to talk about this in the barbershop with my friends. Like, I actually need to put pen to paper and write this book. When was that moment like, you know what, I got to do it?
You know, the moment had been coming for a number of years. You know, I had the idea, you know, years ago. I remember I was at a dinner with my family and we were talking about men, and I blurted out the idea, like, you know, here's my theory about men. Here's my thesis. And it was a lively conversation at the dinner table. And that's when I kind of knew. I said, maybe there's something here. But I was like, I'm not writing that book. I remember very clearly saying, I'm not going to do that because writing a book about men is dangerous. Because as men, we don't like to do our work. And as
I know somebody's snapping right now, like facts. I know y'all in the comments, yes.
Yeah, you know, and so for me, it was like, okay, what kind of man do I want to be? And I'm always encouraging others to be truthful and transparent. And in order for me to encourage that, I have to also model that. So that's one of the reasons why I said, you know, I've got to write this book. There's a lot of things about men that we don't understand. A lot of us struggle secretly, and it's time to create more of a culture where we can talk honestly about the struggle. That doesn't mean that it's a license to do whatever we want or to justify behavior that's really unjustifiable. It's not that. It's just that sometimes I believe the behavior may not even happen if there was an environment where the truth could flow freely. So that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to write this, because I think as men, we, for too long, have gotten away with doing what we want, however we want, and just charging it to the credit card of our gender and just saying, hey, this is what it is. And now that bill is coming due. And it's time to pay up. And so not only just pay up, but let's do our work. And women are dealing with something they don't understand.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you successfully deal with something you fundamentally don't understand? And that fundamental understanding about us is lacking with so many women. So I said, let me write this book to help the women out there, help the men out there. And it really, to me, is a resolution of one word, this book: pain.
Wow, if you just joined and he dropping gems already, you still can get your signed copy at premiercollectibles.com/the truth. I will be asking your question. Yes. I just want to ask one more question before I jump in, because I know please. Giorgio in Chicago has a great question. But I mean, we know DeVon has kept it real with us for years. In all of your books, there's such a raw authenticity.
Thank you.
As you also are very forthcoming and unapologetic in your faith and your spirituality. I love that we're sitting behind a beautiful word of scripture right 25. Here. But even in this book, I mean, you're a preacher who doesn't shy away from the impact of pornography. And so talk about when you pulled that rug up on what's happening with men. Was there anything that you said, I'm not going to go too deep? Or obviously you go deep. Was there ever a moment of like, you were unsure how it would be received? Because the whole book,
I was unsure of how it was going to be received. I mean, seriously, there are things in this book that when I wrote them, I was like, oh man, this is crazy. DeVon, what's wrong with you? You got to be crazy. I mean, what are you doing? You just said that, you just wrote that. But at the end of the day, I kept coming back to, we put people on a pedestal. And the higher we put someone, the further they have to fall. And so,
well, y'all gotta share that. The higher you put somebody, that's real.
Yeah, it's real. And I think that, again, my pedestal that people may put me on nearly isn't as high as others. But to a degree, being in the public eye, being in the spotlight, to a degree, there's a tendency to want to present perfection.
You got to keep signing. Yeah. Get your signed copies. He's signing it right. I know he's good.
That's right. You got, if you want a signed copy, I'm signing it.
He's signing right now. Get your copy.
But there's a tendency to want to present perfection and an image that keeps whatever persona going. And so for me, I was like, is it possible to just be truthful, to kind of level out so that people don't do like this, they're looking like this, so that we can have a conversation? Because a lot of times they look up and say, oh, I wish I could be like.
So are you saying this book is you taking yourself off of a pedestal?
I think so. I hope so, to a degree. Good. I really hope so. Just because it's just, I'm telling the truth. I'm like, hey, here's what we struggle with. Here's why we struggle. Here's what's really going on. Here's what we can do about it. And you talk about, especially from a community of faith, not being afraid to talk about these issues and not just saying, pray about it. Yes, we have to pray. This is a fact, and prayer works. I talk about that in the book. But the Bible also says faith without works is dead. So if we only regulate men's issues and the issues we face in our community and culture relative to this issue as a faith thing, we're going to miss the works that God wants us to put behind it.
All right. Well, we're going to jump right into some of these questions. And if you're just joining, click share and get your own signed copy at premiercollectibles.com/the truth. So Giorgio in Chicago wants to know, would you do a TV show based on a modern retelling of the Bible?
I have a movie in development.
He got a lot of movies in development.
I have a movie in development that I can't say a whole lot about. That's in that same kind of vein. So my preference is to do that movie first before exploring a television opportunity.
Okay.
Yes. But
can you tell us more about that movie?
I can't yet.
All right.
It's top secret.
Tuned. Giorgio in Chicago, good question.
Y'all can't have that truth.
And I'm sure this is a question you get a lot. This is from Shatamas in Forest Hill, New York. She kicks it off to say, blessings, dear brother DeVon.
All right.
She wants to know, where does a single sacred woman go to be among divine men such as yourself to connect in God's name? I'm sure a lot of people have asked that question.
Ooh, that's a serious question. Wait, repeat that.
She wants to know, where does her single sacred self go to meet a man of your caliber?
Wow.
That's what she want to know, right? That's what she said she want to know.
Wow.
Her friends are saying yes, that's what they want to know.
Now let me tell you, if I truly had the answer to that, come on, that's like the fountain of youth. If you know what a fountain of youth is, here's what I would say.
I actually disagree with you. You have given given a lot of answers. You in the weight, you talk about it.
Yes.
In this book, you talk about it.
But in terms of an actual place, like where you can go.
No, it's not a place. It's a prayer.
Yes, that is true.
It's a spiritual place.
There you go. You have to go. Come on, Bishop Jackson.
Listen.
Come on. I want to deal with the physical place. I'm gonna come back to the spiritual place. So that's really good. In terms of a physical place, I think what's so important is, especially in this modern world of dating, to not attach a stigma to any particular avenue of which you may find the person that's created for you and that you're created for. So a lot of times I hear people, say, oh, I don't want to go on a dating app. I'm embarrassed, or I don't want to do that. I want God to bring the person to me. Let me tell you, God has worked through technology to connect people that otherwise may not have been connected. So I would encourage my sister to be available and to pursue different avenues that may allow you to realize where God is and where he isn't. Sometimes you can, just be on your run and he'll introduce you to the person. Other times you may have to put yourself in a situation where you increase your odds of discovering what God's will is and where that person is for you. So I would not have a stigma. If I was dating right now and I was a woman, I would be on all appropriate dating sites and apps. I would be, going out to events. I would be living life. So much of love, and this is going to sound crazy, is it's almost like you got to put out the right energy. And that energy is not one of frustration. It's not one of anxiety. It's one of, hey, I'm happy to be alive. I'm whole. I'm good. I'm ready for love whenever love comes. The more positive you are, the more of the mindset you have, the more the spiritual place you go to where you and God are comfortable and confident, it begins to resonate. I promise you. It's almost like you're putting out a wavelength into the world, and it will help people identify that, oh wow, what's up with this woman? She's got something going on, and because going back to the technology piece, when we were on a panel earlier this year, I love what you said. Tell them what you said about landing and swiping. That was good. Tell them.
Listen, you never know how you'll get blessed, so you got to stay open to it.
Yeah, but tell them what you said.
Which part?
About the app. She got an app, and she'll go travel different places.
I'll learn and swipe. I forgot that part.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, you never know. I said I learned in the city. I had a year ago. I had a great first date in Paris. Shout out to Bumble. But I love that mentality, because when you really elevate your energy, it really does transform the experience, and you become magnetic. And I think one of the things I love about this book is it clarifies, it helps you let go of any past baggage. Because a lot of times we might be in 2019 in the room with DeVon, but we got the stuff from 1997 on our shoulders.
Say that.
We can't fully be in the room. So that's what I love about this book. It opens it up. And it leads to the next question. We're going to keep going. Thank you for that question. Cheryl wants to know, to this point around meeting, she meets somebody. He says he wants a spiritual relationship and connection. She looks up on social media, he's with other women. Why did that happen? I think the larger question she's asking is, how do you discern what someone is saying when a man says he wants what you want versus what happens when his actions don't line up?
Okay, got it. I have a revelation for you all.
Uh-oh. This is for you, Cheryl, in Detroit.
Social media is the devil. I mean, come on. So this is why I wrote this in the book, because social media can destroy a relationship. Here's what I want to just read this and I'll expound. So on page 159, here's what I wrote. Phones and social media are creating havoc in so many relationships because they are a major communication disruptor. Relationships, including marriages, are being broken down one scroll at a time. It's so easy to check out of a relationship and check into an alternate world of likes, swipes, posts, and memes. According to Deloitte, the average adult checks their phone 47 times a day. 89% of cell phone users check their phone within an hour of waking up. 81% check their phone in the hour before they go to sleep. These stats are just the tip of the iceberg. The danger this presents is multifaceted. Constantly being on your phone while you're with your partner is an intimacy killer. As I've discussed, emotional intimacy is essential for a successful relationship. Using our phones can do untold damage because we can find ourselves So distracted that we aren't completely plugging into our significant other in a concentrated, distraction-free way. I admit, there have been times Megan has had to get on me about being on my phone when we're at home trying to spend some quality time together. Somehow I find myself turning to it for no real reason. When I've been at work all day and then come home and pay attention to my phone instead of my wife, it sends a message. The world inside my phone is more important than you right now. It's important to not let anything disturb the connection and communication in your relationship, including and especially your phone. Cell phones are the dominant way we access social media. Social media is a place where lust can become stimulated and run free. Scrolling on social media can stoke the lust for more money, power, and sex within both men and women. Also, too much social media can cause you to become jealous of what we perceive is happening in the lives of others. It can make us wish it were happening to our lives. Too much social media can feed the dog and starve the master. It can also make you feel discontent with your relationship because you can find yourself inadvertently comparing it to others you see on social media. Last paragraph. For these reasons and many more, I highly recommend building a fence around your phone and social media usage. Come up with suggestions that work for your relationship. For example, maybe no using the phone during the first 2 hours after getting home from work. Maybe no using the phone during dinner or no phone while you're watching TV together. This is too important to allow it to regulate itself. Work with your partner to set the right boundaries so you can protect your space and prevent Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and Twitter from claiming your territory. So that is...
is this where we pass the collection plate?
Pass the plate.
Benediction. Listen.
But that's what's so important. So if you're in a relationship, similar to my sister Cheryl, and cell phone use is an issue, you got to bring it up and you got to come to an agreement about what works for the relationship. Don't do it from a place of anger or frustration. Do it from a place of, honey, we need to talk about this because the way you're using the phone, what you're doing on social media, the way I'm perceiving it could be disrespectful to what we have, and it feels like it's more of a distraction than it is an asset. Sit down with your significant other and figure it out. Talk it through. What works for us? What doesn't? Because a lot of times we have these things we keep in about someone's phone use. We don't express it, and then we get mad. It comes out in other ways. So it's so important to know that it's a help. Right now, you're seeing us through social media, so it can be great.
Yes,
but it also
is share. That's all I was doing. I was not scrolling. I was just sharing.
No, it's cool. Cool. I know you're doing your work.
Don't be stingy.
I know you're doing your work. Share it. That's right. Share it so we can sign your book. I want to sign your book right now.
And go to premiercollectibles.com/thetruth to get your signed copy. That was a lot.
Yeah.
But also, we got to rewind a little bit because one of the things I loved about this book is there was so much language, and you just used it talking about the dog, the master. For someone who's just logging in, they're like, oh my gosh, DeVon has a new book. Talk about that language, some of the concepts you introduced, the dog, the master, the beast.
Yes, I know, right?
Down.
So here's my theory and my thesis for this book, that every man struggles. And what is this struggle? This struggle is with lust. Lust is a selfish impulse for personal, professional, financial fulfillment by any means necessary, even if that fulfillment is detrimental. So what that means is I have an impulse for that, financial fulfillment, sexual fulfillment, professional fulfillment. That's where greed comes in. That's where sometimes the desire for promotion, comes in. Personal fulfillment. There may be something I want that I know I shouldn't have. And my desire to fulfill it means I want to do it at any cost. Doesn't matter how it happens. That's what I define lust. I call lust the dog. The dog wants what it wants whenever it wants it. The dog is selfish. The dog is impulsive. The dog is pleasure driven. I believe that lust operates in men like an untrained dog. Now, many of you who are dog owners, you're like, how could you? I understand. It's a metaphor. But here's the reality. If you leave an untrained dog at your house for too long, it's going to tear up your couch. It's going to, use the bathroom in places you don't want it to. No matter how cute that dog may be, It is a nuisance and a danger to itself and everyone else. And that's what I think happens in men when lust just takes over. This is why, men behave the way they do at times, because they aren't leading with love, they're leading with lust. Speaking of love, every man, as much as they have lust, they also have love. I call love the master. Love of themselves, love of God, love of the woman in their life, love of their family, love of their community. Love is selfless. So the way to become successful as a man is to master the dog. Put love in control of lust, selflessness in control of selfishness. Now, when a man makes the decision that he is not going to do that, and he gives himself over to lust over and over again, he gives himself over to the dog. How do we get the Harvey Weinsteins and situations like that? Because those men who have given themselves over to the dog consistently, they become what I call the beast. Where when you look at sexual predators, when you look at those that abuse women physically or sexually, I call those men the beast, because that dog has emerged and metamorphosized into something that is far more destructive, not only to themselves but to every person they come in contact with. This is why it's so important to get control of this issue, because if we don't control this issue will control us. And why this is important to women is because you got to know who you're dealing with. You got to know if you're dealing with the man who's leading with the master or the dog. Because if you're dealing with the man who's trying to perceive it as if, he's trying to play it off as if he's the master, when you have the information, you can say, no. I know what you're presenting is not actually true. This information is vital to any woman's successful dealings with men. And it's vital for men so that we can better understand how to do it. Because there's a lot of men that struggle with lust and don't know what to do about it. So understanding this metaphor and this analogy of mastering the dog, it presents a new thought process. Oh, I know how to do that. Got it. Okay, I master the dog. I put these feelings under my control instead of me being under their control.
No, it was good. And you did such a good job in the book of giving strategies for men to have that process, and women too, because I love that you don't say, there's a lot of things you talk about that women, we're not immune to having a dog in us. So also knowing that we all have to tame those urges and to know it's possible. So I love that. So I won't hog it. We got so many great questions coming in. Deandra from Georgia, Rex, Georgia, she wants to know, how does she protect his peace?
How does she protect his peace, meaning the peace of a man in his?
That's what I'm getting from it.
Well, that's an interesting question. No woman can do a man's work for him. No woman can master a man's dog, and no woman in and of herself can protect his peace. What can happen though is the man comes to a place where he should, when he's practicing mastery, when he's working on mastering the dog, he comes to a place where he realizes that one of his greatest assets is the love of the woman in his life. So a man can involve a woman in the process. A man can give that woman access to help him master the dog, or help him do his work, or help him keep his peace. So the way to do that is two things. One, ask him, how can I help you protect your peace? What are the things that give you anxiety? What are the things that frustrate you? What are the things you're secretly worried about you have not yet told me? Help me understand how I can be a better partner to you in order to ensure that you have the peace that you need and that I would love for you to have. It starts with the conversation. The other thing, I have a whole chapter. Chapter 8 in this book is called Create a Safe Space.
Yes.
You gotta have a safe space where you can talk. And a safe space is a place where there's no judgment. You speak from I statements. In a safe space is not a physical space. It's actually just one other person in your life. So if you want to help a man keep his peace, create a safe space in your relationship where he can talk to you about anything and you can talk to him about anything.
That's good. That's good. He's dropping all these gems. You can get your signed copy. He's signing right now. It's launch day. The Truth About Men is here. Share.
Yes.
PremierCollectibles.com/the-truth. Falami in New Jersey, you asked about online dating. If you're already watching, you know he already answered it. But a few questions. So Carla in Hollywood, Florida. And Deetra in Potomac, Maryland, both want to know, I've been praying about relationship. I haven't found or connected with my person yet. What is your advice for people who are in the season of waiting for their partner?
Yes, if you are in a season of waiting, do not be weary in well-doing. And when you're in that waiting period, Sometimes when we wait, because I waited before Megan and I got married, I waited. So I'm not just speaking philosophically, I'm speaking practically. When we're waiting, one of the things that makes it the hardest to wait is focusing on when we won't have to wait anymore. When is it over? The moment we keep focusing on the end, we miss the power of the now. Really important. Because whenever we think, oh, when is this over, when is this over, when is this over, we get so focused on it that we can't actually absorb what's happening now. So if you are waiting, it's so important to think about now. What's available to me now? What area of my life can I work on now? How can I become better now in personally, professionally? What are the things that I can do that are better for me to do while I'm single before I get into a relationship? Work on yourself. Find great things to do. Find the joy of life and trust that when it is time, the right situation is going to manifest. In addition to that, be proactive. As we mentioned earlier about online dating, be proactive. I think that anybody should use whatever is available to us today. Within ethical range, okay, and appropriate. Any measure that you can find somebody that's appropriate and ethical, I would encourage you to use it. Why not? What do you have to lose? So treat the waiting period as a sense of power, as a sense of opportunity. I get a chance to wait and preserve my integrity, preserve my heart, preserve my soul and my spirit. These are all positive, wonderful things. When you focus on those things, it will help reduce the focus on when it's going to end so that you can actually navigate it and get the full power out of it.
All the gems. You don't have to pay any tax today, but you should get your copy of The Truth About Men out today. DeVon Franklin, who is coming back with fire. This book is amazing. Buy it for yourself. Buy it for the men and women in your life. And you can get a signed copy at premiercollectibles.com/truth. Now, there's another truth that people have asked, and I'm seeing a trend of a few questions. We got our girl Lakeisha in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We got our girl Carla in Hollywood, Florida. And both of them have been through, actually a Sky in Florida, but both of them want to know a little bit about what happens when you've been hurt by a partner. And Sky specifically says, she says, I'm aware forgiveness is necessary, whether it's requested or not. But does that mean restoration? And what does that mean, restoration in the relationship? Especially, go ahead.
Oh, no, I thought that was...
Listen, no, that's it. That's it. Especially the person doesn't want to bring the truth of the transgression to light. That's Sky's question. And Lakeisha has a similar question. If you've been hurt by someone but are praying for them, and they keep hurting you, how do you pray for them and love them without continually getting hurt? So we have some women who have been through something, who have experienced the dog. Okay. And they want to know, how do you navigate that?
Okay. So I want to exclude marriage for a moment. Okay. Okay, so we're going to come back to marriage. So let's deal with being single or in a relationship. So you're in a relationship and the person has hurt you. I think it first starts with, are they contrite? Are they sorry about the pain that they have caused? Because if they're not sorry and they're kind of callous to what they just did to you, that's a huge red flag. And that is a sign that you got to step away. Because what happens sometimes is that when we want someone or something so bad, we see a red flag, but we choose not to look at it. Because we know if we acknowledge what we just saw, we're going to have to do something about it. So sometimes we'll suppress what we see because we don't want to lose this person from our life. But if somebody has hurt you and you're dating them and they are not that sorry, I would say, sorry, I'm out. Because the only thing that it can potentially convict them that maybe they need to really apologize and really be sorry for their actions is your absence. So this is really important. The other thing is, if you're in a loving relationship and the person still causes you pain and they are very, very sorry for what they have done, I think it's really important to not rush yourself to forgive. However, if you do sense that they are sorry, I think it's important to do two things. One, give yourself time to heal and request that they put themselves in a process where they work on themselves. Because a lot of times a man will, let's say he cheats on you, talking to women here. If a man cheats on you and he causes you pain, many men, their first solution is to go get you back. That's cool, but if he gets you back, what is he doing in himself to not do it again? This is really important. It's twofold. Yes, if he wants to woo you back and you want to go back, that's okay, but do it with the condition. What caused you to cheat in the first place? And what can we do so that no longer happens? What's the work that you as the man have to do? It's so important to communicate, because a lot of times, if you've been cheated on, you're mad, you're angry, you're frustrated, you're hurt. You didn't want to get cheated on. You don't want to leave that person. You want to make it work, but don't want to make it work so badly that you don't set in place a level of expectation that this man needs to meet in order to rebuild the trust that he has violated.
And that's good. It goes right into this next question, which I think you hit on. You talk about doing the work, and this book is full of ways to do that work. But Francisca in Peoria, I hope I'm saying that right, Arizona, wants to know, is it rude to gift this book? And you can get a signed copy at premiercollectibles.com/truth. She wants to know, is it rude if she gifts it to a close friend who she knows could benefit from it?
Is that rude? No. You love them. I love you so much. I'm going to give you something that can help you. And when I give it to you, because what she's saying is the moment she gives her friend this, they going to know like, oh, you think I got a problem? No, listen, what my heart on this is that we got to start a movement. We got to change the culture. We have to. We gotta change it, and what happens, because I produce films and I'm a part of the entertainment industry. We live in a world where whatever we watch, whatever we stream, whatever we go see is basically a vote for what we want to see more of in the culture. And since Megan and I wrote The Wait, there have been women all over the world that have reached out and shared their pain. The pain that they've experienced, at the hands of men, not necessarily even physical or emotional, but just men that would not honor the commitment to wait. The pain that they made a decision to better themselves, and it seems like it sometimes works against their relationship life or their love life. They've expressed that pain. I've seen the pain of the women in my life who, were hurt emotionally at the hands of men in their actions. Why is this important? Because in order to change it, we have to get behind messages that can help provide the solution. Even if I didn't write this book, I would be telling you we got to support it and make it a movement, because the moment you vote for this book, you're voting for what you want to see more of in the culture. So when when the young lady was asking about should she get it for a friend, yes, get it for multiple friends.
Yeah,
pass it around. Anybody you love, anybody you just like, and you say, hey, before you can date me, I want you to read this, or let's read it together. The more that we do this, the more that we have a collective conversation, the more that we begin to put new ideas and thought processes into the culture, the better chances we have to change it so that the pain, especially the pain that women experience, can be mitigated and potentially eradicated. And also for men, many men are in pain because we're struggling with how to be a man. We don't know how to be a man. We're never taught how to be a man. I believe this book points towards tips and tools that can help us as men learn what real manhood's about and put ourselves in the process to actually achieve it.
I love it. And speaking of men, you got to talk about what have men been saying to you about this book.
Oh man, listen.
You have taken us behind the curtain, and some of them are like, oh, you done brought 1 million people behind the curtain, bro. You on Today's Show talking about?
Yeah, hey, listen. We just talking about some real truth. You know what I mean? And like I said, without truth, there can be no transparency. Without transparency, there can be no transformation. So a lot of men, you'd be shocked. Earlier today, I did an interview with Sway, and we had a powerful conversation. I also did an interview on The Breakfast Club with Charlamagne. That interview will be dropping soon. We had a powerful converation. And in my DMs, there have been so many men that have said, I heard your interview. Thank you. It's what I needed to hear. I heard your interview. I'm struggling. How can I get help? You would be surprised. There have been men, I won't even say who they are, that are in the public eye that have reached out and said, man, thank you. I needed to hear this. I needed this. I'm working on it. So you would be really, really surprised that there's a lot of men out there that really want help, but just don't know where to get it. Because sometimes you can't get it in your family. You turn on the TV, you can't get it there. So you don't know where to turn. So again, my book is not the end all be all. I want to be very clear about that. There's a lot of answers and solutions to the problems we face. It's just one approach that I believe will work. And so a lot of men have been finding it.
All right. Listen, there's so many good gems. So let me see. Oh, this is one question. She said, hi, DeVon. I'm a strong, successful woman in my late 20s, and my friends consider me a serial dater. However, I just think I'm picky. This is her speaking.
Okay, I just think I'm picky.
She wants to know, do you think that women have the dog in them? And if so, how can we tame it? And is it the dog in women and men the same?
Okay, so I wrote this especially in the book
for you.
Yes, but before I read this portion, because this is relevant, here's my feeling. My feeling is that, of course, women have lust. Of course, it takes two to tango in any situation. However, I didn't want to write the book about a woman's lust. Why? Because I'm not a woman, and I don't want to write a book about women. Here's what you got to do better or different. I didn't want to do that because there's too many relationship books that are telling women what they're not doing well enough. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to write a book about us as men and what our problems are. But of course, women have lust. And the beautiful thing about this book, the women that have read this book so far have said, oh my goodness, you're helping me with my lust. Because yes, you're talking about men, but lust operates in women in a very similar way. So yes, women do have this in them as well. But from the research that I did while writing the book, women have a better, they deal with it better than men. They're less destructive in terms of how they deal with it. They're able to manage it much better than men. Whereas most men, they're feeling a certain way and they just go do it. So most women don't do that. And I'm going to find this portion in the book that will address that, because I really, really wanted to. I wanted to put this in here because it's important that especially for men that are watching this. Not all women. Here it is. Not all women that want you are for you. And it's really important to know this. So here's what I wrote. I'll read this real quick. I hope we have some time. When a male dog is in heat, he looks for a female dog that can help him get satisfaction. Then he moves on. The dog in a man acts the same way. When a man gets horny, he'll be on the lookout for a way to resolve that feeling. There will always be some women who are willing to accommodate him on this. Men, be mindful of a woman who feeds your dog with no strings attached. There are always strings attached, and not all women have pure intentions. There are some women who seek to manipulate and exploit you because they know that lust is your weakness. There have been many men who lost everything because they allowed themselves to be manipulated by a woman who played intentionally upon their lust. This is why it's so important to build up the master in you so that you have the strength to say no. Just because it's offered doesn't mean you have to take it. Women, every situation is different, so there are exceptions to this rule. However, in my experience, I've learned that a woman has to be careful how she goes about getting a man. If you appeal to the dog to get the man, then once you have him, you want the master to show up. You're fooling yourself. Be aware, you can't date the dog and marry the master. As many of you have already experienced.
Right. Wait a minute. You done got to warn him before you go. He didn't warn us he was going to go there.
Yo, we going deep. Let's go. What are we doing, people?
Say that again. You cannot date the dog and
you can't date the dog and marry the master.
All right, keep going.
Last paragraph. As many of you have already experienced, it's easy to appeal to a man's lust. But what are the long-term repercussions of doing this? You can potentially be viewed as only an object of his lust. And if you want something more significant from him, it may never materialize. You have the power to choose what you want and to make choices in dating that will help you achieve it. Yes, it will require sacrifice because many men aren't leading with the master. Hopefully this book will change that. So some men will reject you if you don't immediately appeal to their lustful desires. That's okay. Rejection is God's protection. Protect your heart, mind, body, and soul until you come across the right man who's willing to love and be loved.
Well, I think that was the benediction. If you're just joining, obviously you got to go back to the beginning and watch all of it. But don't keep it to yourself. Push the share button below. Post in the comments. Today is a special day. DeVon put his whole heart, spirit, and all the gems in this new book. You can get your own signed copy at premiercollectibles.com/truth. Share it, comment. What you showing?
I was letting them know I'm signing the books. It's for real. We signing books for real.
And this is the
I want to sign your book.
It's blowing up. Everybody I know who is read is like, yo. We all on the phone like, yo. He really went there. Did he really? Because you really opened up in such a powerful way.
Amen.
And necessary. We know what's going on in the world. You cut on the TV. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
And so it's important for us to get this in powerful and just insightful context. And so there's been so many good questions coming through. I have a question for you.
Yes. Yes.
He's like, yes, come into my door. And we've seen it. Abby, I think in Orlando, was asking around sort of that in-between phase of like, can a dog fully be reformed? Like, how do you know?
Well, yeah, without a doubt, of course,
Okay.
of course. You know, if a man has been giving themselves over to the dog and acting like a dog, you can absolutely be reformed. It starts with wanting to be better, and not only wanting to be better, putting yourself in a situation where you can do better. And I put so many tips and tools in the book that can help men who want to move on from their doggish ways. You know, so it's so important. You know, and I also say in the book, of course, men are not dogs. But I say that we can behave like one when we don't do our work. And so if you have, and I actually have an interview with my buddy, Al Roker, who,
Can we just stop right there? Don't you look, who else is considered my friend Al Roker? This is your boy.
No,
DeVon Franklin.
not that Al Roker. Not the Al Roker from the Today Show.
Wait, it's two?
Yes. Read the book. It's in the back. Yes.
I didn't read that part. I read the book. Where was that?
Yes. Right here.
You just playing.
No, I'm not. Insights from a reformed player. Al Roker. There you go.
Oh, you right.
Young
My
guy.
bad.
You know, rocker. So what he talks about though is he was a player, and here's the chapter in the book: Insights from a Reformed Player. He was a player. You know, he was a dog. You know, acting like a dog, and he wanted to change. Why did he want to change? So powerful what he said. Because he had no peace. He was living the life in LA, living the high life, going to clubs, drinking, partying, sexing, and he was empty. And I think this is the thing that no one talks about. You see a lot of men do these things because that's what's expected of us. But on the inside, there's something empty about it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I believe a man can change if he chooses to start giving himself over to love and look for a better way and begin a better way to live and learn. Yes.
Well, all the gems. All right, I guess one more question. Last question should only, in fairness, go to a man. We have Maurice, who is in Simpsonville, South Carolina. Shout out to all the men and the brothers who came on the live. We see you. We celebrate you as you master yourself.
Yes.
And step into and own it. And Maurice in South Carolina wants to know about what are your personal pet peeves as someone who is navigating spirituality within this industry? And are there any scriptures that have helped you in mastering yourself?
You know, my personal pet peeves, I would say, dishonesty. You know, I mean, I want people to tell me the truth. Even if it's the truth I don't want to hear, I at least want to know what it is. So when someone doesn't do that, that's always a challenge, and really, really does upset me. You know, and I would say scripture-wise, Philippians 4:13 is one of my favorite scriptures. A powerful scripture. You know, we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. I also, whenever I'm feeling down, I start reading the book of Hebrews. I read the book of Romans. Powerful understanding of what faith is in the book of Hebrews. A powerful understanding of, our faith walk and the struggle between the flesh and the spirit in the book of Romans. There's so many different things I go to in the Word, depending on, where I am and kind of what I'm feeling. But I would encourage you, my brother Maurice, that don't allow, if you're asking about pet peeves, don't allow the little things to detour you or distract you. It's okay to acknowledge that you may feel upset about something that someone did or said, or one of your pet peeves may have been, acknowledged, but it's so important to keep moving forward and to find the right scriptures that work for you that keep you focused.
All right. Listen, we could be here all day. Of course, you definitely want to get your signed copy. Today is the launch day. It's the birthday of this new incredible read. It's so good. It's worth every second. Don't miss your stop on the train like me because you get so stuck in the book. It is The Truth About Men. It is here. We just want to say congratulations to this brother. Please share on the link.
That's it. That was quick.
Listen, you signed them, but you want one of these signed copies, so get your copy.
Please, I want to sign a copy for you.
Go online, order your copy for your friend.
That's right.
It's not rude to give somebody a copy. Like someone asked earlier, it's the best gift you give somebody.
That's right. And even though this live signing will end, anyone that buys a book, buys a signed copy, I will personally sign it. So if 10,000 signed copies are sold, I will sign 10,000 signed copies. So don't think that the end of this live signing is the end of your opportunity to get the signed book. It's not. Just go to Premier Collectibles /The Truth. PremierCollectibles.com /The Truth. And you can order your signed copy. And whenever you order it, we'll sign it. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you, my sister.
Y'all keep pressing share, support this brother. This is a good read. I ain't lying to you. I'm Sharia Jackson. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
My sister, thank you.
Give me my copy.